Good evening. This is oh, please stand by. Good evening. This is the bear with us just a moment. This is the all right. Well, good evening. This is the Library Advisory Commission LAC meeting for March 21st, 2022. This is a hybrid meeting. We have both live attendees at the Felton Branch Library, as well as attendees participating via Zoom. You'll see our commissioners listed here, as well as CPL staff. And the chair of the commission, Lindsay Bass, will now call the meeting to order. Transitioning to gallery view, please stand by.
Good evening, those of you at home and members of the public that are with us in person tonight. We will now call our Monday, March 21st meeting of the Library Advisory Commission meeting to order. Clerk Samantha Vargas, will you please call the roll?
Jennifer Mount.
Here.
Here. Here. And Chair Lindsay Bass.
Here. Aye.
Aye. Pamela Woll.
Aye.
Vice Chair Rena Dubin.
Aye.
And Chair Lindsay Bass.
Aye. For oral communications, any member of the audience may address the board on any matter either on or off the agenda that is within the board's jurisdiction. Note, however, that the board is not able to undertake extended discussion or act on any non-agendized items. Such items can be referred to staff for appropriate action, which may include placement on a future agenda. If you intend to address a subject that is on the agenda, please hold your comments regarding that item until it is before the board so that we may properly address all comments on that subject at the same time. We will allow 3 minutes per speaker during oral communications. Moderator Jones, do we have any members of the public on Zoom that would like to speak?
There are no public comments at this time.
And are there any members of the public with us in person who would like to speak tonight? Seeing none, we will move on to item 4 on the agenda, which is the report by the library director, which has been submitted in writing. I'll pass it over to Director Wilburn and for any verbal comments.
Thank you, Chair. Funds to provide lunch for all of our staff members, which is fantastic. So we're really excited about being able to do some of those training sessions with our staff, as well as to be able to provide them with lunch as a thank you. As part of that, we would really be honored to have our library commissioners come to the locations. We're anticipating that our La Selva beach staff will come to the Capitola branch. And then, of course, we'll have our Felton staff here, our downtown staff, and all of our downtown area staff will be at the downtown location. So if you all would not mind, and just check your calendars and then get back with me on what location and time would work for you. Again, we'll be doing that between 10 and noon on Tuesday, April 5th. And with that, I'm concluding my report. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Director Wilburn. Are there any comments or questions on the library's director report from commissioners? Commissioner Wynne?
Well, thank you, Director Wilburn. I thought your report was just so exciting. I mean, it's so great to see how much is going on within our system and all the new libraries and the opening. So I just wanted to commend you on that. Really well done report. Thank you.
Thank you.
I don't believe there's any additional comments from commissioners, but I just wanted to echo Commissioner Wynn's comments in that it was really great to see the progress on recruitments. And when looking at the CIP schedule, it was very apparent how necessary those recruitments are and how important those are, given the number of openings you guys are looking and planning towards this summer. So keep up the good work. Thank you for all the information. That moves us then, unless there are any public comments on item 4.
There are no public comments at this time.
Okay, we can move on then to item 5 on the agenda, which are our member reports from commissioners. Sorry, I made a mistake. Item 5 is actually, we have here with us our Friends of Santa Cruz Public Library's Executive Director. I skipped one. I'm so sorry, Bruce. So we'll yield the floor to Bruce Cotter, Executive Director of Friends of the Santa Cruz Public Library.
Oh, sorry. It's a pleasure to speak with you today. It's a pleasure to see you all in person. What a nice change. Even with computer screens in front of you and masks on, it's still nice to see you in person. And it's a beautiful library, which is about half a mile from where I live. So we are now wrapping up our very successful Realizing the Promise campaign from last year. I have recently provided Director Wilburn and her staff with a summary report of the financial results overall and by branch, and we expect to begin transferring funds to the library in the next month or so. Of the a little over $1 million we raised, a little over 100,000 is in the form of pledges. I will say that 2 of those are from very large donors, so we have no concern about that. And so my anticipation is that we will we'll transfer about 880,000 this year to the library as a result of the campaign. Also note, on a personal kind of side note, we had a visit at Garfield Park from one of our larger donors and her family. And it's moving along very nicely, and it's looking really nice over there. So getting close. In addition to the Realizing the Promise funds, we've also finished dispersing the funds from the Sulzner Trust. You may recall that was set up several years ago by the Sulzner family. It provides $14,300 for the purchase of mystery books. Each new library, by which I mean the books are mysteries. I mean they're actually mystery novels. So we gave $57,200 that finalizes the Sulzner Trust, which I think was around $143,000. We very much thank the Sulzner family for their generosity. We're also providing about $60,000 to meet the annual request for funds that the library presents to the Friends of the Library. This year, the funds are going to be used for summer reading program, for lendable technology, for opening events at each of the 5 branches that are opening this year, and also some technology for hybrid events and some lunches, as noted. We just finished a strategic planning session with the Friends, discussing our future direction. We had our last strategic planning session actually here in the fall of 2020. At that time, we identified the capital campaign and organizational stability as our key issues. We think we did well on both of those. Moving forward, we will really be focused on working to see the downtown mixed-use facility comes to fruition. It's going to be a beautiful facility. We want to see it happen, and we're also going to be working on the longer-term growth of the Friends as an organization. I am very pleased to announce that Dr. Monica Parikh has joined the board. Monica tells me she is an avid reader of female, Asian, and Asian American writers, and this is her story. She received her PhD from the University of Buffalo and is currently the director of the summer session at UCSC. And she has extensive experience in nonprofit fundraising and organizational development, which will be a great help to us. As I said, we're really focused on the downtown mixed-use facility. We are putting our team together so that we'll be ready to go once we really know what the picture looks like. I am pleased to announce that your Vice Chair, wonderful Dubin, has agreed to be one of our chairs for that committee for downtown, and we are extremely grateful for that, Rena. Thank you. And then just finally, I would like to note that this coming Sunday, March 27th, there is going to be a forum at Peace United Church. Those of you who don't know it, it's a very large church that's just to the right of the main entrance to UCS. It used to be First Congregational Church, or for people who've been around here a long time, Primo Congo. They will be, Martine Gomez and Cynthia Matthews will be representing the pro side. I believe John Hall, and I'm not sure who else will be representing the other side. The event takes place at noon, and I really hope you can join us. I would like to have a lot of positive support at that event. So that is my report. In future, if you would like me to submit a written report, I'm happy to do that. Just let me know. Are there any questions? Great. Thank you all.
I just wanted to say thank you, that I really like that you're coming to the meetings, and it really, I think, bridges the Friends and the Commission, and which is really where we want to be in partnership. So it's appreciated. So,
And I appreciate the invitation, so thank you.
yeah.
Before we let Bruce go, are there any other comments or questions? Outstanding work to you and your team. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay. So now we will move on to member reports. So my apologies for getting ahead of myself there. Do we have any commissioners with reports they would like to give? Okay. Great. Are there, I don't think if we have any comments, we need to ask the public if they have any questions. So we will move along to the consent calendar. So item number 7 on the agenda, as a matter of point, these will be enacted in one motion in the form listed below. So we have 3 items on the consent calendar: the minutes of January 24th, to accept and file the media package submitted in the packet, and to accept the communications submitted in the packet. Are there any comments or questions or requests to pull items from the consent calendar? Seeing none, I did have just a clarifying question on, first I wanted to thank members of the public for their written communications in the consent calendar, and wanted to just confirm whether the library staff could bring back a policy review schedule. It was hinted at a future meeting, and there were some communications with respect to some of those policies, and just to help the public understand when those will be coming to the commission, that'd be great to see, and confirm that schedule with them. Those were my only 2 comments. Are there any motions related to the consent calendar tonight?
I'll move consent.
Commissioner Termini has moved to approve. Is there a second?
A second.
Commissioner Mount, seconds. Clerk Simona Vargas, please conduct a roll call vote.
Jennifer Mount,
Aye.
Termini,
Aye.
Pamela Woll,
Aye.
Tricia Wynne,
Aye.
Vice Chair Rena Dubin,
Aye.
Chair Lindsay Bass.
Aye. That passes unanimously. Thank you, everyone. And so now we can move on to the main event of the evening, item 8 on the agenda, which we have 2 really interesting presentations tonight. The first one will be a strategic plan update by Diane Cowan. And so we will hand the floor over to Director Wilburn and Diane.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity to talk to you. I think I'm going to share.
Thank you. I believe Diane is on via Zoom, and she is prepared to provide her report. Diane, are you ready? I see you there.
Do you see me? You don't see me. Okay, it's okay.
Looks like we don't have.
Diane, we can't hear you.
You're muted still.
I unmuted.
Mm,
I've unmuted myself.
Diane,
You're
for
still
some
muted,
reason,
Diane.
your sound is not coming through.
Um,
Do you have an inline mic or anything, Diane? And then. Okay. Yeah. And then you can share your screen if you need to. I'll try again, Diane. She's leaving and coming back first.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, I'm terribly sorry about that. I don't know what went wrong.
It was on my side, Diane.
Okay, well, I thought that I would share my screen so that I can show you some pictures of some of the process while I'm talking. Okay. Oops. Can you guys see my screen? I'm not muted, am I? So from the previous update, the library engaged the staff in identifying our strengths, opportunities, aspirations, and results as an organization, as well as identifying some of our organizational values. The library then used the Harwood process to identify community aspirations and barriers to reaching those aspirations. Those aspirations included safer and friendly communities, more inclusive communities, and more supportive communities. Then most recently, the library met with 21 of its partners at the Capitola branch on February 10th, and that's what these photos represent here. We conducted exercises with those partners to identify 3 goals for the library from the community. The 21 partners represented various organizations such as the Friends of the Library, the Library Advisory Committee, the County Office of Education, Cabrillo College, Santa Cruz City Schools, the Chamber of Commerce, the Community Foundation, Rise Together, the Diversity Center, Monterey Bay Economic Partnership, the NAACP, United Way, and the Santa Cruz County Sheriff's Office.
And Diane, we can't see your screen.
Oh, you can't. I hope you're not watching yourselves.
Well, right now they just have my opening slide. If it's faster for you to send me the presentation, I'm happy to display it for you.
It's not a presentation. It's just, can you see it now?
No.
Boy, there is nothing but technical difficulties in share screen, start broadcast. How about now?
Yep.
No.
Hang on a second. Oh my God.
Well, in the interest of not keeping you guys here all night, you don't have to look at the pictures. I just thought it would be nice.
Nope, I've got it up. It's quirky, but I've got it up.
Okay. So hopefully you all saw Yolande there, and yeah, I'll just keep going. So so the exercise at Capitola helped the staff team develop areas of focus for the library to support the community aspirations. And you can see everybody hard at work there at the Capitola Library. So the top goals identified to achieve safer and friendlier communities include creating safe spaces, including safe spaces for specific demographic communities, creating culturally diverse programs, services and collections, hiring and retaining a culturally diverse workforce that represents the community, fostering civil discourse, and supporting the most vulnerable in our community with mental health and other services. And then the top goals to achieve a more inclusive community were creating fun opportunities for different communities to connect, creating multi-generational events in arts and humanities that are accessible, creating inviting spaces, address accessibility issues in terms of transportation programs and collections, inclusive and representative staff and leadership, including transparent hiring practices, reevaluation of hiring practices and organizational roles, and homegrown staff and leadership, and including partners in the decision-making process. And also creating, strengthening, and then supportive communities, how to achieve those by creating, strengthening, and leveraging partnerships to address vital community needs. Building community trust by having staff who represent the diversity of the community, serving on the boards of other organizations and collaboration with other organizations, increasing social connection and participation, increasing support for low-wage workers, address some things via transit access and simple communication strategies. So then just today, the library staff working on the strategic plan and the management team came together to bring in data from all of the staff exercises that were done, as well as the work that we gleaned from the partner meeting and the surveys, the survey data that we had that informed the community narratives. So from that, we have developed a rough outline of what will go into that first draft of the strategic plan. And then the next steps we'll be putting together a draft.
We lost your screen again, Diane.
I just stopped sharing.
Okay.
Did I not? Okay. So the next steps are, we're going to be writing out that draft. We're going to send it to the county and the city jurisdictions to see what kind of alignment there is in our between our plans and their plans, so that we can work together more strategically when possible. And then we'll, put it together in a nice, pretty document and bring it back to this board for your review, and then hopefully to be approved by the Joint Powers Authority Board. And that is essentially where we're at now. Yolande, would you like to add anything?
Thank you, Diane. Thank you, Diane. I would like to add that just a big thank you to Diane and the whole library team that came out for the partners meeting. And I know this is not easy work. This is the tough work of really deciding, because we can't do everything. And so ensuring that we are doing the responsible thing and that we are actually working with our cities and counties and our other partners to ensure that we're meeting the needs of the community is really essential. So just a big thank you to Diane, to all of our staff members, and to all of our library advisory commissioners who came out and participated. We really appreciate it. It makes a huge difference. So thank you all.
Great. Thank you, Diane. Thank you, Yolande, for all of the helpful information about strategic planning processes. Before we turn to the public, just want to see if there are any clarifying questions from commissioners for Diane or Yolande.
I have one.
Commissioner Termini?
I heard this alluded to, but what are we doing for outreach to underserved portions of our community? Are there any specific efforts going on right now?
So right now, with regard to the strategic plan, there were surveys that were conducted. And so those surveys are part of some of those responses we went through today. We looked at what was included in the surveys, the responses that we got from those, which really targeted our more diverse communities. We also looked at the partner, the information that came out of the partners programming meeting, as well as the meetings with our staff. So at this time, we're not actually going out and doing that outreach. We're using the feedback and the data that we got from those 3 different sessions and sources to try to put together the framework for our strategic plan. And then within that, I will tell you that diversity and inclusion were all huge, that the theme kept coming up over and over again. And so it's very clear that we have some work to do in those areas. Part of that is marketing. How do we get the word out? How do we bring in people who we're not currently serving? And maybe it's we go out to them, but all of that will come out of the final draft of the strategic plan. You're welcome.
I have a question in regards to the community surveys. When we were doing the strategic planning meeting, we recognized that a lot of the information from the survey was pre-pandemic from 2019. And as we know, the pandemic has vastly changed our environment and how we do things. And I was curious if there's any plan to redo the surveys, or what are we doing to kind of close that gap with the data between pre-pandemic and now?
Can I just address that real quick? It actually wasn't the survey data that we got from the public that was pre-pandemic, although there was one community conversation that did occur before the pandemic. The community data and census data is the stuff that was pre-pandemic. And, you know, we're just, you know, the 2020 census data is really just beginning to come out. And so it, you know, as that data becomes available, we will add that in. And we'll also be continuing to, we'll continue to periodically survey the public with that same survey so that we can see if community needs or aspirations are changing.
Thank you, Diane. I would add to that yes, we do intend to continue surveying our community. I think that's what will help to determine, one, if those strategic goals and initiatives that we plan and draft, if we should continue with them, you know, are we meeting them? We need to remain informed about our progress throughout. And we know that this is something we talked at the partners planning meeting, that we know that this is a living, breathing document. And so it may change. And so we'll start with what we have and develop from there. As we need to reiterate, we will be doing that, and we will be going out and getting more and more survey data from our community.
Any other additional commissioner comments? Seeing none, we'll turn to see if we have any public comment on the Zoom. Moderator Jones, do we have any public comment?
We do have one public comment from Judy G. It reads, if there is any public comment on this presentation, strategic plan, I have a comment. I heard almost nothing about promoting literacy or reading activities. How can the library be expected to provide mental health services? And that ends her comment.
Great, thank you. Are there any public comments from members of the public that are with us in person tonight? Seeing none, I will bring it back to commissioners on any further discussion or comments on this item and any of the next steps that might be coming our way. Any additional comments? Seeing none, I'll just say that one, as I was listening and reflecting on Diane's presentation and the helpful comments from Director Wilburn, I wasn't fortunate enough to be able to participate in the strategic planning pieces, and I'm just curious how you all are thinking about some of the emerging trade-offs of all of the things that have come forward as a priority from the community, and how you'll evaluate kind of doing radical prioritization amongst those critical needs, given, you know, limited time, resources, etc. So any additional comments or points you all have or thinking that you're doing around that at this point in time would be helpful, or just we'll be looking forward to that as the document comes together.
So I think that is part of what some of the information that we've garnered, that we recognize, and some of the comments that we got back and the feedback was that, you know, what are we going to let go of in order to be able to do some of the big and heavy lifting? It's not that we have to give them up forever, but we might need to give them up for a moment while we get some things in place to be able to go back to them. And I think what's really driving us is, from the feedback we got, there were some really clear themes that stood out. And so we're really kind of trying to rank those and focus in that direction. I also think that it's great to have some low-hanging fruits where we can make some accomplishments. So we'll be looking at what can we accomplish quickly, you know, and then also looking at that in perspective with long-term goals that we're going to, we know this is going to take a little bit longer, but, you know, there are steps. And so I think that's where we're at right now. And as we hammer out those goals, part of it, Diane mentioned, we want to look at what the city and what our county are doing already, or what their work plan suggests, so that then we're not reduplicating the wheel. If they've already started some things and some of the work, we can partner with them to make sure that we're accomplishing the goals for everyone.
I'll just commend you all on the process. You have been incredibly inclusive, collaborative, and you continue to demonstrate that you're really thinking about these things in a very adaptive, thoughtful way. And I think we're lucky to have such strong leadership at the helm. Thank you for your work on that. Thank you, Diane, for the presentation, for sharing that information with us tonight. We'll turn to our second presentation, which is the 2022 Summer Reading Program Plan. And I believe Heather Norquist from Youth Programs and Services is here to speak with us. Heather, the floor is yours.
And while Heather is preparing to get set up, I'll just make a few comments. That this is a really challenging summer reading program for us because, A, we're back opening our libraries, but B, many of our libraries are still under construction. And so I just want to take a moment to thank our youth services team. They've really thought about this and how we can continue to provide great programming across the county for all of our students over the summers. Heather, go ahead and take it away.
Good evening, commissioners and members of the public. My name is Heather Norquist, and I manage youth programs and services for the library. And I'm going to tell you about our plan so far for summer reading. This year's summer reading program is very similar to last year's. We'll be using the Beanstack platform again, along with paper reading blogs for those who prefer them. We're partnering with the Friends of the Santa Cruz Public Libraries, Atlantis Fantasy World, and Penny Ice Creamery again this year to provide incentives for children and teens. This year we decided to provide a larger selection of books for each age group, and also more titles in Spanish. We purchased these giveaway books at a discounted price through Scholastic Literary Partnership. The Advisory Council of Teens chose a backpack and water bottle with our logo and some sea turtle tattoos for the 5-hour reading incentive for teens. We're still finalizing contracts for performers, but are planning for performers outdoors at all open branches. We're planning for almost all of our performer events to be in person and outdoors, or for closed branches, or where there's no suitable outdoor space, we're presenting the performances in local parks. For example, we're planning for James Henry Antoinette Susan flag there, House of Samba at the Scottsdale Community Center, and Felt Street Park in Live Oak, and Jungle James at Harvey West Park. Our in-house programming will be both in-person and grab and go. The grab and go craft and STEAM kits were hugely popular. So them even we submitted the grant application for lunch at the library for waiting for where we will pop some reading programming, reading distribution of free books and craft supplies. We scheduled the former San Andreas and will be conducting summer reading 12 book sale site, serving adults. Shakespeare. Adults complete the standard hours of reading will receive PL summer reading tote bag, and complete 20 hours of reading and participating in special activities will earn raffle tickets for prizes from local merchants. The grant prizes include a family trip to the Murray Bay Aquarium or Museum of Art. We'll have events this year too, including a speaker from Santa Cruz Shakespeare and tabling. For all are a bit tentative due to the ability of access to serving county correctional facilities. We're working with correction staff at some level of reading programming to SC patrons incarcerated. Juvenile Hall will receive a free graphic novel and be invited to see a written or illustrated response to the library. Participants will receive a prize, possibly a pizza party, and adult participants will be invited to write a response paper. We're excited to try and include our patrons in facility in our summer reading program. And I'm happy.
Thank you so much, Heather, for sharing all of that information with us and the great photos. We'll turn to commissioners now. I believe Commissioner Wynne, question?
Well, I have a comment and a question. The comment is, I just think the summer reading program is excellent. I've lived in this county for 8.5 years now, and every year the program just gets better and better and more exciting and more original, more creative. So thanks for the hard work on this. And I'm really pleased to see the outreach, especially with so many libraries closed. It's nice to see us going out to the community, which I think addresses some of the strategic planning, how do we serve underserved, and also how do we bring reading into the community, which addresses the public comment we had on the last item. Ultimately, libraries are always going to be about books and reading, so I love the summer reading program. One thing I just wanted to mention was, the Aptos Friends who don't have a branch right now have been doing the farmers market once a month. And we don't have much to talk about now that OCR is over and we've met our fundraising goal. And if you wanted, we would be willing to talk about summer reading program because we're there every month. We did get rained out last weekend, right before my shift started. So, but, we would be very happy to work with the library to talk about summer reading. And I wonder if some of the other farmers markets would give you space, because I think that's a great way to meet families.
Fantastic. Commissioner or Vice Chair?
Yes, I was wondering if you're doing the event at Harvey West Park. I didn't hear you mention.
We're working through the current
Is that like the big event, like at the end? Okay.
Questions? Okay, we'll go out to the public then. Moderator Jones, do we have any public comment on the summer reading program presentation?
There are no public comments at this time.
Members of the public that are with us in person tonight? Yes.
Yeah, I just, on behalf of friends, like to say how important this program is and how proud we are to support it. Heather didn't really talk to this, but we know that kids backslide over the summer. We know that's a problem, and that's what summer reading is about. To keep that from happening, and I suspect it's worse now because of the pandemic, because of the fact that now got closed libraries. And so it's just a really important program. I think that's what work you do. We're really happy to be supportive of it.
Outstanding. Thank you, Bruce. All right, if there are no other questions or comments, thank you so much, Heather. Great presentation. All right, that concludes item 8 on the agenda tonight. Thank you again to staff for such informative presentations and keeping us abreast of what's happening. The many goings on across the different branches. We don't have any items on our general business agenda tonight. So the next scheduled meeting, item 10, will be our April 18th meeting. Library staff is flagging 3 potential agenda items. One would be an update on the home connectivity kits, a follow-up on the system staffing models that we talked about in November, and then some potential policy reviews. So any additional comments on those items?
I have one question for our director. Could you repeat the locations for the staff lunches during the staff week?
Sure, we'll be at Capitola, Felton, and then the downtown location.
Wonderful. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, with that, we can adjourn for the evening. Thank you so much, everyone.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks, Lindsay.
Have a good night.